On a Monday morning in the city of Medina, a giant of a man stood before a grieving crowd and refused to believe what had happened. Umar ibn al-Khattab, fierce, feared, devoted, told the people that the Prophet Muhammad was not dead. He had only gone to his Lord, Umar said, as Moses once left his people for a time, and he would return. Anyone who claimed otherwise, he warned, would answer for it. But the Prophet had died. It was the 12th of Rabi al-Awwal, in the 11th year after the migration to Medina, by the most common reckoning, the 8th of June, 632. This is the story of the first day the world of Islam lived without the man who had built it. In the space of a single afternoon, a young community came closer to breaking apart than at almost any moment in its history. Here is how it held. For 23 years, one voice had held everything together. From a cave outside Mecca to a state in Medina, the Prophet Muhammad had been prophet, judge, general, and guide, the living center around which a scattered people had become one community, one ummah. Now that center was gone, and something the sources make painfully clear had not been settled. Who would lead next? Muslims have debated this very question ever since. Some hold that the Prophet left the choice to his community. Others believe he had already pointed to his cousin and son-in-law, Ali ibn Abi Talib. What is not in dispute is that on the day he died, no single, agreed successor stepped forward, and two groups stood in the city with reason to expect a say. There were the Muhajirun, the emigrants who had followed the Prophet from Mecca, and there were the Ansar, the helpers of Medina, who had taken the persecuted believers into their homes and defended them with their lives. Inside the small chamber of his wife Aisha, the body of the Prophet lay covered by a cloak. Word spread through the streets, and the community began to fracture in real time. In the mosque, Umar's denial grew louder. Grief had curdled into something like panic. Then Abu Bakr arrived. He had been at his home in a district called As-Sun, on the edge of the city, and he rode in the moment he heard. According to the account preserved by his daughter Aisha in Sahih al-Bukhari, he spoke to no one. He went straight to the chamber, uncovered the Prophet's face, leaned down, and kissed him. "You have tasted the death that God decreed for you," he said quietly. "No second death will ever reach you." Then he walked out to face the crowd. Umar was still speaking. Abu Bakr told him to sit. Umar would not. So Abu Bakr turned to the people directly, and the words he said next are among the most consequential ever spoken in Islam. "O people," he said, "whoever used to worship Muhammad, Muhammad is dead. But whoever worships God, God is alive, and he never dies." Then he recited a verse of the Quran that had been revealed years earlier, after the Battle of Uhud, but that in this moment landed as if for the first time. Muhammad is no more than a messenger. Messengers have passed away before him. If he dies or is killed, will you turn back on your heels? The 124th verse of the 3rd chapter, Al-Imran. Umar later said that when he heard Abu Bakr recite it, his legs gave way beneath him and he fell to the ground. The companion Ibn Abbas remembered it this way. It was as though the people had never known the verse existed until that moment. And then everyone was reciting it. The faith had just been told, in a single breath, that it did not rest on a man, it rested on God. But grief was only half the crisis. While the believers absorbed the Prophet's death, across the city the Ansar had quietly gathered in a roofed courtyard belonging to the clan of Banu Sa'ida, a place the sources call the Saqifa. Their leader, Sa'd ibn Ubadah, lay ill among them, and they had come to a decision of their own. That leadership should stay with the men of Medina who had sheltered the faith. This was the true fracture point. Two centers of authority, forming in the same city, on the same day. Had that afternoon ended with the emigrants pledging to one leader and the helpers to another, the community the Prophet had spent his life uniting might have split down the middle before he was even buried. Abu Bakr heard of the gathering and went, with Umar and with a third trusted companion, Abu Ubaidah ibn al-Jarrah. What happened in that courtyard is recorded with real tension. The Ansar made their case. Abu Bakr answered it not with insult, but with honor. No one, he said, could deny the standing of the helpers in the religion. Yet a leadership that all of Arabia would accept, he argued, had to stay with the Prophet's own tribe, the Quraysh, and the emigrants had been first to answer the call. The debate was sharp, voices rose, and then Umar reached out, took Abu Bakr's hand, and pledged his loyalty. Abu Ubaidah followed, then the men of Medina, one after another. By the end of that long day, Abu Bakr had become the first successor to the Prophet, the first caliph. Not everyone was there, and not everyone agreed. Sa'd ibn Ubadah did not give his pledge. Ali and the Prophet's closest kin were absent from the courtyard entirely, occupied with washing and burying the body. Muslims have never stopped discussing that day. Sunni and Shia carry different memories of it, and it is, in truth, where their two paths first begin to diverge. The sources themselves do not hide the friction. What they agree on is the outcome. The community did not break. And here is the part that is easy to miss. What looks from the outside like a near collapse was in fact the moment Islam proved something about itself. A movement built entirely on one charismatic founder usually dies with him. This one did not, because at its core, it had never claimed the founder was the point. That is exactly what Abu Bakr's words insisted. Muhammad is gone, God remains. The verse he recited had said the same thing years before. Messengers come and go, but the message does not depend on the messenger surviving. In this, there is a quiet echo of the older Abrahamic story. The followers of Musa, the followers of Aisha, Moses, and Jesus, each facing the terror of continuing without the one who had shown them the way. Every faith meets this test. The believers of Medina met theirs in a single day, and the honest record of it, the arguments, the tears, a disputed succession and all, was preserved rather than polished away. 14 centuries later, that morning still shapes the world. Nearly 2 billion Muslims trace their community back through a line that, humanly speaking, could have ended in that courtyard. The office of caliph itself is long gone, but the question that first opened at the Saqifa, between those who accepted Abu Bakr and those who felt Ali held the stronger claim, is still carried, gently or sharply, in mosques from Najaf to Istanbul. When a Muslim today says the Prophet's name and adds, "Peace be upon him," they are speaking of a man they believe was mortal and a message they believe was not. The Prophet Muhammad was buried in the very room where he died, beneath the floor of what is now the great mosque of Medina. He raised no monument, left no crown, chose no palace. What he left was a community that had just learned on the hardest day of its life how to stand without him, and it stood on the sentence spoken over his body. Whoever worshipped the man is gone. But whoever worshipped God will never be left alone.